I've communicated with my brothers, throughout the years, and it's amazing that we will talk about how like times and the streets have changed compared to when we was out there, as far as how petty the mindset of the youth have gotten over the years, whereas they're willing to just kill, stab or whatever over colors. To me, that's the height of ignorance. When I came to prison, it wasn't about a matter of months when I say everybody that was supposed to be friend and all of that, they took off running. And when the dust settled and stuff like that, because eventually my brothers then went to prison, right? All you got is your mother. So that's why, for me, I want to always express to them youths the importance of the parents, listening to them. A lot of them believe that, well, it's just a mother's duty to just be whine in your ear and tell you that. Okay, well, this is me telling you, right? That, had I take the heed of my mother, a lot of things would have, turned out different for me, right? But now when you speak of like the loyalty with the youths as opposed to back in times when I was out, right? Me and you, like I say, we grew up in the neighborhood. Even though we might have got into mischief and whatever, at the end of the day, right? I got your best interest at heart, right? It's like in these times with the youths, they're not in it for the brotherhood. They're in it for they're representing a symbol. So it's no real love for one another.
I'm in there for attempted murder and robbery, 19 years old.
And what your sentence?
5 years.
5 years. All right. If we could go back, you're 19. If we could go back 5 years ago, what could you have changed in your life that would have keep you from being in prison?
My attitude.
Your attitude. So how can I?
Other than being around my company, could have been around myself, following up on the school, but helping all my younger brothers, dealing with my mother, grandmother, everybody.
But speak on it when it comes to your parents talking to you, your grandparent, your mother, whoever it is, to another youth. What would you say to that youth when a parent speak to them?
Listen to your parents all the time. If you ain't listening, then you'll be a downfall. If you bring your friends, then you'll be a downfall. Everybody will learn. Go to school and lesson. Everything your parents say you must do. But you end up dead or in jail.
Yes, we've seen it. We've seen the handkerchiefs. We've seen, the bandanas. We've seen the colors. We've seen the behavior. Absolutely. I mean, even here at the university, let's make no mistake about it. Even here, right here, on these grounds, we've seen guys all in black go and sit together. Well, they're not organizing for positive when they sit together. They are organizing to declare we are force here to deal with any force that threatens us. That's all well and good, organizing for threats, but then realize that the real threat is not your fellow, it's not your colleague, it's not your fellow man. The real threat is poverty. The real threat is lack of skills, and the real threat is ignorance about your identity.
We as adults and parents don't talk to these kids. Someone else talking to these kids. So as adults, as parents, we still have a role to play. What make our school safe? What make our community safe? Is it the police job? Is it the job of the parents? Is it the job of the school?
These students are participating in a program called The Law and You, taught by Officer Roy Chesterfield, a 19-year veteran of the VIPD assigned to the School Security Bureau.
It's not a good feeling, and it's not good for me sometimes to come in to hear your situation and there's nothing that I can do to help you. You gotta help yourself, and all of the information that you got here today is worthwhile information. Don't pay the price by coming to jail when you had this advice for free.
The Law and You invites these young students into the real world, where they experience the consequences of criminal acts, from incarceration to internment.
Be quiet. Quiet, guys. Come on, face and watch. Come on.
Now, why do we have to do this? We have to do this because some people behave as though they're from Missouri. They have to see to believe. Lots of people think, especially young people your age, they think that you're invincible. You can do anything you want, you can get away with it, you're underage. What you're smelling are the remains of someone who was found dead. We're not finished our studies yet, but that's what happens when we find them after days of being around. And that could happen to you. This particular person is very, very young. You can tell by the size of the stature of the person. One bullet to the chest area. He's no longer with us. That's all it takes, is one bullet being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Every time a bullet pierces flesh, a costly journey begins. From the paramedic's first IV to the surgeon's precise work, from police scouring a crime scene to the shooter's time in prison, shootings can cost a community tens of millions of dollars a year. Most of those costs are absorbed by taxpayers, hospitals, and people with insurance. According to an article in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, across the Midwest portion of the United States, the average charge for a gunshot victim admitted to a hospital was more than $38,000 last year. The cost and liability to taxpayers and hospitals can balloon into the hundreds of thousands if the patient ends up in intensive care or requires long-term rehabilitation. Some of the cost included in a serious shooting can include police officers, detectives, and supervisors who rush to the shooting and spend their time on the case, $3,000. First responders administering life support and transportation of the patient to the hospital, $1,200. The average hospital stay and treatment for a shooting patient admitted at a hospital, not including physician fees and rehabilitation, $38,172. The average time police detectives spend on shooting cases that end up in court, $1,500. The hours spent for prosecutors to make a case in court, $4,200. And should a conviction occur, the average yearly prison term, $27,600. Ludwig and Cook, authors of the book Gun Violence, The Real Cost, estimate shootings in the United States cost $100 billion a year. The immediate cost of a shooting are dwarfed by less tangible but far-reaching costs, such as the anguish experienced by families and the fear that pervades some neighborhoods. When the final bill from a shooting comes due, everyone pays a price.